So, hey Sagittarius, this is your beautiful reading for whenever you find it somewhere in 2026, I might add, because this is just a freaking seismic shift here, right? For all of us, certainly for you. By the way, check out your Sun, Moon and Rising video. Do you see this? There's the Ace of Swords and there's the Ten of Cups. A new consciousness, finding a home within yourself. Resting within yourself, loving yourself, respecting yourself. That's the new consciousness, right? That's the new consciousness in 2026, and we're all, hopefully, all going there. Let's just see what comes up. A few more cards. Two want to come out. There's the Hierophant and there's the Seven of Swords. Hierophant on top, Seven of Swords. Let's just do a little cross here and one more. Queen of Swords. Bottom of the deck, the Seven of Pentacles. You doing what you love to do, and what you're doing has everything to do with your new consciousness, right? And with kind of being a wounded healer, being a teacher, being someone who is just impersonating, not just pretending to be, but really fully, authentically being that Hierophant guy here, right? You freed yourself, and the Queen of Swords, that's interesting, right? That's the crown of your reading, that's the center, you cutting the crap, cutting every bullshit. On the bottom, on the foundation, there's the Seven of Swords, which is kind of a double meaning, right? It could be interpreted as the narcissist of the tarot deck, some shady, narcissistic, toxic person or people in general, energy, frequencies, right? But it could also mean, and this is the different perspective, that you disengage from conflict, that you just become a person of peace. And the Queen of Swords kind of freed herself. There was a little shackle, you know, she was bound, her hands were tied, but she freed herself. Maybe you know how the Eight of Swords looks like. There's this person, this woman basically, and she is tied up, but all the swords are around, and she could actually, if she just touches a little around, feel the sword, feel the blade, cut her rope, cut her wrist, cut her shackles, and free herself. And that's what she did, right? That's the Queen of Swords. Very laser focused on what you want. What do you want? What is she focused on? Ten of Cups, happiness, peace, joy, right? Resting within yourself, just being in a good place, internally and externally. And the most important thing is that you keep the Queen of Swords, butterfly queen, with this new transformed consciousness. She got her sword, right? She knows how to defend herself, but defending yourself, and this is the election of the Hierophant, doesn't mean that you fight negative, toxic, antagonistic energies. You're not trying to convince the narcissist. You're not trying to argue with them. You should stop arguing. You just stop feeding the monkey. The narcissist, the toxic person, whatever, wants your energy, wants your engagement. That's how they feed on you, literally. Vampire style, right? Energy vampires, so to speak. They need your energy, they need your engagement into their BS, into their drama. If you, on the other hand, just cut the crap, just ignore this frequency, because this frequency wants to fight with you. And Queen of Swords and the new consciousness, laser focused on what you want to create. Actually, it's like this on the table, right? New consciousness, Ace of Swords. She takes that new consciousness, laser focused on what you want to create, freeing yourself from that, right? No more BS, no more drama, no more fighting. That's very important. Be peaceful. Be peace. Because that's what you want to manifest. A happy, peaceful home. And therefore you need to be internally, find your inner peace. And you're not, you know, if you're always trying to change the world, you're forgetting that the world is usually, well, I'm not preaching solipsism here. I'm not saying that you're entirely, that your world is an entire representation of your inner workings or your inner state of consciousness. That would be solipsistic. Google that. Solipsism is a very dangerous idea from an individual perspective, from a divine perspective, right? Sure, but when we're human beings, right? We're limited consciousness, we're limited beings. So careful with solipsism. Not everything in the outside world is an representation of an inner state of yourself. That's BS, very, very big BS. So don't believe that. But what you always have a choice. You always have the choice where your focus goes, where your energy flows, right? Just be peace. Don't take the bait. When you watch the news, when you go on social media and you see something horrible, you know, another war, another threat, another lie, another this, another that, right? You can always spend your entire day in the comment section arguing with chatbots and AI algorithms and maybe even toxic people, right? But you're wasting your time. And the more you engage with this, the more you allow this to lower your frequency, guilt, fear, shame, hatred, anger, frustration, you know? That's how they get you. They need you to be down there in frequency. So you got the Queen of Swords here in the center because these lower frequencies are still there, but you're just not going there. You're just not fighting, you're not explaining, you're not defending. You're not trying to heal or convert or convince anybody. You're just leading by example, laser focused on what you want to create. A new consciousness 2026 is here. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? It's always in the moment, not somewhere down the road, but here and now. Be peace, be healing, be joy, rest within yourself, slow the fuck down. And if you do that, you're planting your seeds into the world and you're just radiating that, and you become the wounded healer, the spiritual teacher, the Hierophant, not by acquiring or getting some sort of degree or, you know, piece of paper that tells you you're this and that, right? You just be that, authentically radiating your frequency, not jumping down into the mud with the pigs. No, you don't. They will always try to engage you. Fear, guilt, shame. They always try to create a sense of urgency. You have to do it now, and it's very, very important, and we need to do it now, and it needs to be quickly, and, you know, please do this and that and this, you know, and, you know, pushy all the freaking time, questioning yourself, gaslighting. Learn everything you can about narcissism, by the way. Don't engage with them. Don't defend. Don't engage. Don't explain. Don't personalize. Don't give them energy. And if you do that, you're absolutely fine. Have to do it like this, like it is on the table, right? Queen in the middle, laser focused on, looking to the 10 of Cups. That's what you're doing. I'm doing 3, maybe 4 clarifiers, just how this is connected. The Ace of Swords, resting within yourself. The 4 of Swords, meditation, breathwork. Whenever you kind of fall into the trap of engagement with this frequency, you come down to negative breathing. 5 seconds in, 10 seconds out. 10 seconds in, 20 seconds out. Something like that, something in between. The out breath should be 2 times that of the in breath. Releases negativity, right? That is an active protection against this energy, not fighting it. Not fighting it. If you fight it, you give it energy. You're not fighting it. You're working instead with your consciousness. How do you do this? You're working with your consciousness for sword style, Meditation, breathwork. That's very important every day. If you can do that every day, 5 minutes, if you've never done it, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever you need, do that. Joyful creation, Tree of Cups. That's your bridge to the Ten of Cups. Maybe you're going to attract, not maybe, you actually are attracting good people if you are in a good frequency. Two of Swords is again kind of in the same frequency of the Two of Cups. So the narcissist wants to create a diversion basically between your intellectual mind and your subconsciousness, your waking, thinking consciousness and your subconsciousness. Why? Because the subconscious energy or the subconsciousness itself is the gateway to the divine, to higher realms of healing, consciousness, inspiration, all that jazz, right? So whenever you stuff guilt, fear, shame into your subconsciousness, it's blocked, right? Because you try to avoid that. So you stuff it in your subconsciousness. There it kind of acts like a block, right? Blocking the frequencies, higher frequencies of healing, of consciousness, of connection. You love yourself, you respect yourself, you can say no kindly. No is a complete sentence. And then don't engage with these people. Love yourself, heal yourself, meditation, breathwork. You're good as you are. And this Two of Swords here connecting the Seven of Swords to the Queen of Swords is just a reminder. Do not lose the connection to your subconsciousness. Take care of your subconsciousness on a daily basis. Meditation, breathwork, and then just flow. Slow down. One step at a freaking time. One person at a time, you know. You might have to cut out a few people, toxic people out of your life. But peace in a peace is... And then the Queen of Swords is connected to the Hierophant, the second time of the Ten of Cups. Bottom of the deck, the Ace of Swords. So you got 2 times the Ace of Swords, you got 2 times the Ten of Cups, you got the Hierophant. Yes, there's the narcissist, but the narcissist is just in this world. But the narcissist needs your engagement. Fear, guilt, shame, anger, frustration. And you know, if you just do not engage, do not watch news, right? I mean, you should stay kind of informed, right? What is happening in the world at a broader scale. But, you know, that needs a few updates every now and then, right? What is not part of the game is comments, arguing with people, you know, things like that. Slow down, be enough, lead a simple life, do what you love. Slow down, be yourself enough, lead a simple life and do what you love. You don't need the big car, you don't need to prove anything to anybody. Slow down, be enough, lead a simple life, do what you love. Just do 2 more quotes. If you're dealing with a narcissist, train yourself to let stupid people win arguments. Just nod, you know, and you don't need to nod, but you know, there are people, if you tell them no, if you tell them, you know, especially if you don't know them, if they random people and they just give you some BS, right? At the checkout, you know, at the supermarket, something like that. You know, first of all, don't engage, don't defend, don't explain, don't personalize. But if they just keep talking behind you or at you and you're standing in the checkout line, train yourself to let stupid people win arguments. Yeah, sure, whatever, ciao. You know, that's all it takes. Do not engage, do not defend, do not personalize, blah, blah. I said that before. And that's how we win. Not fighting the old, not fighting the narcissist, not defending, not explaining, not engaging, not personalizing. Not fighting the old, but building the new. Slow down, inner peace, resting within yourself, doing what you love, and doing more of what you love over time, right? Continuously going in that direction that is healing, that is resting for you, that is making sense to you, that is what you love. Hate creates hate. Love creates love. So don't, jump down into the mud with the pigs. Do not. They try to scare you. They try to engage you. They try to worry. They try to shame, guilt, fear, right? That's their trick, basically. But if you love yourself, if you integrated your shadow, and that is pretty much there's a new circle starting where this is a big topic, shadow integration. But there's also a big circle closing since 2008 and since the last 9 years, 10 years, where you did that to some extent, right? Maybe to a huge extent. So if you can truly love yourself, if you are truly a friend to yourself, you don't need external validation so much. You're just enough for yourself, period. And what other people think of you, well, let them. Do not engage. Do not get your external you don't need external validation, right? You need a handful of decent people, but if they vibe on the same frequency, they will not, try to manipulate you, try to scare you and stuff like that. So do not disengage from these energies, and you find them in chat rooms and in, comment sections, as I said, go for a walk, meditate, breath work, create more of what you love. And then you're just kind of in this emperor mode, just by example, just by being you. You don't need to be someone. You just need to be you and get rid of everything that is not you. There's the Hierophant and there's Sananda. Sananda, my God. Mastery. Sananda is he who has ascended into a higher dimension of awareness. Through this card, Sananda invites you to ascend with him into the heart of love. In doing so, you can rise above the obstacles and challenges you face. And though the physical world will never be free of obstacles, from a higher perspective you will see they are not the inflexible solid structures you initially imagined. You think you exist in this physical world, but the reality is that the physical world exists through you, right? For in essence, you are light and have the power to transcend physical reality and raise your awareness by connecting with the eternal light and love inside you. True light, all has come. True light, all is transformed and healed. And you let your light shine, right? Literally let your light shine. That is the Hierophant, right? Not by fighting the darkness. That would be super stupid, right? No, you focus on what you want to create. You focus on the light. You focus on, I say this again, slow down. That's the first step. Very important to slow down and identify the people in your life who constantly try to rush you and push you and make you go faster and try to, overwhelm you and want to make you make quick decisions, right? Slow down. Cut these people out of your life that want to harry you and haste you. Slow down. Be enough. Lead a simple life. You don't need the big car. You don't need to show off. You don't need designer clothes. You don't need all that. It's all bullshit. Slow down. Be enough. Lead a simple life. Do what you love and give that more attention. You might need some job that pays the bills. But you know what? The more you go into that direction, the more you see it just as a necessity to do what you love and not the main thing, you will develop that which you love and go into that direction. And that's all I got. And there is the summer reading 2026. Check this out. There's a yearly reading for 2026, and 2026 is a big, big freaking seismic shift year. I'm super happy that it's finally here, because 2025 was the year of hell, that's for sure. Check this out, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign if you want the full picture. And share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, a good one, right? A productive, light-hearted, beautiful one. And then hopefully see you next time. Now, Vidaya, my friend. Ciao.